Hey guys, welcome to Generation Tech. I'm Ben, and today we're going to be looking at the 5 craziest ships in Star Wars Legends. None of these ships have appeared in the Star Wars movies, but they have been featured in comics, computer games, novels, etc. Number 1, the Conqueror. You know when kids take a perfectly normal car and do some ridiculous modifications to it? Well, that's basically what this is. It's an ordinary Star Destroyer with a mini Death Star style super laser installed in the nose. It was intended to be a temporary replacement for the first Death Star after it was destroyed at the Battle of Yavin. But just like that modded VW Golf that's after all still just a VW Golf, the ship was after all still just a Star Destroyer, and its super weapon was nowhere near as powerful as the Death Star's super laser. It could, however, destroy a small moon or crack a continent in half. The ship was built on Naboo and was operational 1 year after the Battle of Yavin, in which the Death Star was destroyed. And like the Death Star, the Conqueror was in the end blown up by rebel scum. Those terrorists this time boarded the ship and planted explosive charges around the ship's reactor core. Number 2, the Leviathan. Leviathan could inflict over 5,000 HP worth of damage even when used against multiple opponents. Wait. Wrong Leviathan. The ship named Leviathan in Star Wars was an Interdictor-class cruiser that served the Old Republic Navy during the Mandalorian Wars. This was about 4,000 years before the events of A New Hope. It was commanded by Saul Karath, who defected with the ship to the Sith Empire and served Darth Revan and Darth Malak. At 600 meters long, the Leviathan was quite a lot smaller than an Imperial Star Destroyer. The ship's armament included gravity well generators that could pull other vessels out of hyperspace, 20 quad laser cannons, 4 turbo lasers, and after it defected to the Sith, the Leviathan housed a complement of 48 Sith fighters. Number 3, the Hapan Battle Dragon. This is a ship that'll make you think, are we still talking about Star Wars? It was a capital ship of the Haps Consortium, a civilization that had been cut off from the rest of the galaxy for about 3,000 years by transitory mists around their region of space. The Hapan Battle Dragon was 500 meters in length and featured 2 saucer sections connected by a series of struts. The ship's armament, in the form of 40 turbo laser cannons and 40 ion cannons, was mounted on the outside of the saucer sections. To compensate for slow-to-recharge weaponry, the saucer sections could rotate, bringing newly charged weapons into firing position. But the Battle Dragon was flawed. Its drive system could be easily damaged, and its targeting computers were limited. Since when hasn't a targeting computer been limited in Star Wars, huh?
Luke, you switched off your targeting computer. What's wrong?
This is because the Battle Dragons were originally intended to be used en masse with several ships firing at the same time, so one ship wouldn't need to engage multiple targets. Number 4, the Eclipse. Like the Executor class, the Eclipse class was also a 17.5 kilometer long Manhattan-sized star dreadnought. While shorter than the Executor, it had a larger internal volume due to the large bow section that could also be used to ram enemy ships. The Eclipse also featured a super laser in the bow that was similar to one of the Death Star's 8 tributary beams. Although not as powerful as the Death Star, it could still destroy large capital ships and Star Destroyers in one shot. We've talked about the Eclipse in previous videos, and I'll put a link to one of those on screen in just a moment. Number 5, the Yuuzhan Vong World Ship. This was a ship that had more in common with a planet, really, than a starship. The ships were circular discs with spiral arms on the outside, somewhat similar in appearance to a galaxy. They were 100 kilometers or 60 miles across, and could live for a period of 500 to 1,000 years. The Yuuzhan Vong used them to cross the spaces between galaxies. During the long voyage, drugs were circulated in the interior of the ship, which gave the occupants a sense of purpose. And you'd need a sense of purpose. The journey took a millennium. It was ships like these that were used to invade the galaxy 25 years after the Battle of Yavin during the Yuuzhan Vong War. The ships were made of coral and used magma and massive worms as projectile weapons. You know, although these ships were cool, since they're living organisms, I think the interiors would smell pretty bad. You'd need drugs to get through 1,000 years of that. Okay guys, so those are 5 ships from Star Wars Legends. There is a chance that the Eclipse may appear in a future Star Wars movie. You can check out our video, Is Snoke Hiding on Palpatine's Star Destroyer? I'll put it on the screen in just a moment for more about that. If you're new, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, And if you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.